the time, where does it go?
Today is going to be that day. Gonna have things go my way. Embroidering fashion that sells. Using all my knowledge, I will excel. Stitch by stitch, let color shine bright. Turning a blank canvas into art feels right. Time is flying by and this is my art. With embroidery machines, I'm doing my part. I search the web for a magical design. Looking high and low as I sip on my wine. Metallic thread, watch it shimmer and shine. I transform my blanks into a one-of-a-kind. Stitch by stitch, let color shine bright. Turning a blank canvas into art feels right. Time is flying by and this is my art. With embroidery machines, I'm doing my part.
Live from the Sunshine State in Miami, Florida, here is the Gifted Crafters Morning Show with Nancy.
Good time. Ooh, time to get our craft on. Ooh, time to have fun. Ooh, time to feel good.
Good morning, Gifted Crafters, and welcome to the Gifted Crafters Morning Show. Good morning out there. Hello, hello. Awesome. Well, we had a little musical morning this morning, didn't we? I hope you guys enjoyed that little mix there. Of course, those are all songs that are from our CD. If you're interested, those are in our shop, and I think they're just a lot of fun and it's great inspiration to kind of get you going in the morning. Good morning. All right, I see people from Ohio. We've got Maryland, Wisconsin. We've got Illinois. Let's see, Richmond, Illinois as well. Good morning, good morning. All righty. Hey. We've got Robin, Barbara, Evelyn, Jenny, Sue, Melissa, Robin's Quilt Basket, Faker McFag, Thread Static, Sassy, Melissa, and there's my friends from Canada. Good morning. All righty. Louisiana is here. Awesome. All right. I see we're tuning in from just all over the place, and that is just fantastic. Makes me so happy to see that we are all connected here in the morning and just ready to start crafting and start our day. Well, we're having a great time here because it's Happy Wednesday, right? It is Happy Hump Day, right? Yay! Awesome. We're almost there, guys. The week is halfway through and we're halfway through some of our projects. So it's a great time and we're going to have a great time on this hour. So thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate all your support. Yes, thumbs up, Sue. Thank you. And thanks, Faker McFake, as well. Yes, thank you, thank you. If you love the content, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up. And hope you guys really enjoy what we're doing today. So Alrighty, shall we get to it? Because first things first, there's some things that we just have to do. Of course, our little traditional toast in the morning. So grab yourself a cup of whatever it is that you're having in the morning, coffee, tea, soda, whatever it is that's your mojo. Go ahead and grab that and let's give a little toast to Happy Wednesday and getting through today. Awesome. Now I'm going to grab a sip myself. Okay, I grabbed two. Make it one more. Alrighty. Ah, feels great to have that in the morning. Of course, I just grab a little bit of water for myself, but how rude of me. Let me pour you a cup too, right? All right, guys, here's your cup of coffee. Go ahead and grab your little cups and just let me know, 1 lump or 2, whatever it is you want. Decaf, regular, we've got the mochas in there as well. All kinds of types of coffees in there. So go ahead and grab yourself a drink because we're on a diet today. We're not doing the food truck today. We're going to kind of be good and we're not going to look at any of the stuff that they're making in that kitchen. No, we are not going to have any of that. We have to kind of stay a little slim today. We're getting a little on the chunky side. So we'll have another cup, right? Go ahead, grab yourself another cup and enjoy that. Okay, Cindy, you've had eggs over easy on rye toast. Oh boy. Alrighty, okay, see everyone tuning in and settling down here from Philly as well. Good morning. Alrighty, and welcome. We've got Tennessee, Missouri, Texas, all here. Awesome. Alrighty, so now that we're all settled in, you've got your favorite little drink and you have maybe your little snack or two, as long as they're healthy, right? I think we're ready to get started. Alrighty, so again, let's just catch you up. Really quick recap what we've been working on this week. It is Christmas in July, and so we are starting to work on our projects for Christmas. And one of the things that we've decided to do is work on a Holly Jolly Christmas quilt. This is the Designs by Juju, and this can be done on your embroidery machine. Yes, it is a really nice quilt that you can get on her site. I'm not an affiliate or anything like that. I just really love to craft, and I see certain things and I like them, and I like to get these up. Oh, you love the cup. Hey, Etna, how are you? Well, here's to you as well. Okay, so again, Designs by Juju. This can be done with your 5x7 hoop, so absolutely adorable. It's got all the little Christmas characters, and it's a great little gift that you can give. So making a couple of these because I've got a couple of people that are interested in it, so I'm going to make them for them. Okay, so as you can tell, we have, and let me just grab them over here. We have started off with a number of different blocks that we've put together. And so we're going to kind of continue on that, but we're going to be working on our sashing and our corner square blocks. And we're not going to be doing it on the scan and cut today. I'm going to show you, especially on the corner square blocks, we're going to be using a specific ruler. I'm going to show you all about that, and we'll talk all about that. But I did find that this was a little bit quicker than actually doing it on the scan and cut, and I'll explain all that in a little bit. But before we get to that, let's go over to our crafting news, because we've got a couple of inspirational stories that I'd like to tell you about. So let's head over to that segment. So okay, as our crafting news today, we have a couple of new trends that are coming back in 2025. And guess what? They're quilts. Yeah, like we didn't know that, right? Alrighty, so they're definitely just not for the beds. They are also for hanging on the walls. And they're also for your tablecloths. They're using them even to upholster furniture with them. But it's not just about having a quilt for looks. It's about feeling connected to your home, to your history, and to the hands of the person that actually made the item. And it's got that really nice vintage flea market find that you can get out there. And there's bold artistic pieces like those made by the legendary Jean Ben quilters. And these quilters are quilts that reminds us of what we kind of what it means to us when we create it from the heart. And I think that's just really a trend that's going out there. People are really inspired and making quilts that are coming from the heart, and people are feeling more and more connected to the home and really want to kind of adapt what the history was and kind of reflect that onto their quilts. And I think that's pretty amazing. So a great new trend that's out there. So if you're stitching on your own or with a thrift shop, maybe you have a guild that you're doing some quilts with, it's really nice to kind of band together, work together, and work through those quilts. So I thought it was really nice because people are really getting in tune to the meaning behind the quilts. So I thought that was an awesome trend that's happening out there. Alrighty, now we're going to go over to Minnesota, and I don't know about the name of this town. I'm going to try, but it's called Owatonna, I believe, and the kids there are just having a blast. They are there to sew at a camp that is inspired by Project Runway. They've got 4th to 8th graders that are diving into the fabric bins, and they're learning to use their sewing machines, and they're stitching up all kinds of fun projects. They are doing things from swimsuits to cover-ups to mini messenger bags, and they even have owl-shaped earbuds cases. Isn't that cute? Now, the camp is being led by Chelsea Ketchman, who is making sure that each child gets hands-on help. She says that her goal is really simple: give kids a creative space, and they'll learn how to use skills that they can carry with them for life. And the best part is that each camper will leave with their own sewing handbook and the items that they made themselves. So the camp isn't just for girls now. These are girls and boys in the class, and Chelsea says that we have at least one boy in every single class, which is pretty cool. Now, sewing is, after all, for anyone who wants to make something with a little love and a little thread. So I thought those were some truly inspiring stories and trends out there, and I like to kind of bring those out to you. All right, so we've got our crafting news out of the way, and now we're gonna just kind of dive into our projects. So let's kind of see what we have here. Let's see. Oh,
for those that are here early,
yeah,
we have a special surprise.
Oh, okay, hubby wants me to let you know that for those that are here early, we have a special surprise for you. We're testing a new membership feature, and we're giving away 5 random ones, okay? There's gonna be 5 random free memberships that we're gonna give away. So, alrighty, so more to come on that one, because I'm kind of learning as I go. Alrighty, yes, here we go. 5 GiftsHQ gift memberships. You should see that all on your chat, and you should see who received them. So congratulations, guys. Alrighty, I guess it kind of pays to get there on time, huh? All right, so let's head over to the laptop because I want to show you a couple of things of what we're working on. And let's see here. Let me bring some of my stuff up. So give me 1 second. Okay. All right, I think we are ready for the laptop now. Yeah. Ready? There we go. Okay. Okay, we've got our laptop going here. And congratulations to all of those, yes. Okay, so for our design today, the designs by Juju, we're going to be working on those cornerstone blocks, and I brought them up on the screen. I am using my 5x7 hoops, so guys, if you have one of the smaller machines, which doesn't have a very big hoop size. 5x7 is great for this particular project. I think that is the smallest hoop you can have for this project, or you can go as big as 8x12 if you've got one of the bigger hoops and the fancier machines. So what you're seeing on my screen is my 5x7 hoop here, and we've got 5 different corner blocks that are on here, and you can see this is what they look like. Now we're going to go over to our objects panel, and I'm going to go ahead and hit the plus sign, and as we've been discussing all week, this is how you can find out what makes up that design, right? So your objects is like your little diary over here. It'll tell you everything you need to know. So once you click that open, you're going to see all of the different layers coming in, and you'll see the first one is the deep rose. That again is the placement line. Now, if we were to be cutting the fabric, that would be the line that we would need to follow in order to bring that over to our scan and cut and have it cut that size out. But as you can see here, you can only fit 5 at a time on the hoop. And the design itself calls for a lot more than that. So I am making, using the 5x7 hoop for the corner square blocks, you're going to need to cut 20 of these squares. Okay, so that's quite a number of hoopings, probably more than I would like to do just to kind of get through this. So I thought I would do it a little bit different and use a ruler to just go ahead and cut the fabrics to the size that they let us know on the actual instructions. And I'll cut it to that size and go on with this, because this is going to just probably take longer to do on the scan and cut than to just do it on the ruler. So again, for each step, you kind of have to look at each step and figure out what is it that needs to be accomplished here. On some of those other blocks, we had the applique that we were cutting out with our scan and cut, because it gives that really exact, nice, intricate cut, and it allows you to kind of really get in there with those curves. So we had a couple of examples. Remember, we did do the reindeer. So we've got the reindeer here, and in the reindeer you had all of these curves and things. And if you have hand issues, you know, this is a great way to have the scan and cut kind of do it for you. So again, we had the reindeer here. That was our first block that we did together. I'm going to kind of lay them out here so you could see what the row is actually going to look like. So let me start off. I'm going to do right over here. And then the next block that goes over next to that, actually, we're going to do it like this, is going to be, let me move this all the way to the end. So we've got the reindeer, and we've got the little bird here, and then we have the gift. Right, so the gift I was able to go ahead and stitch out last night. So that right there, those 3 are your first row. And then in between, we're going to have our sashing and our cornerstones, and then it will start with the second row, which really is this right here, which is that reindeer bottom, right? We're going to have that reindeer bottom here. And then we have a couple of others, which is the sleigh, which we haven't done yet. The row after that is going to have the elf, and then the girl elf will be on the bottom row. But again, if you don't like the order that it's in on the design in the instructions, you can also mix and match and do it in different ways yourself. So there's no quilt police here. You can do it any way you'd like. But we pretty much have all of them laid out here. And I also have been doing a couple of extra ones because I'm making multiple of this. So I do have the reindeer and the bird kind of stitched out again along with the bottom. But the bottom here, different color reindeers. You can see here, we've got the dark colored reindeer and the light colored reindeer. So you can also change and kind of use different fabrics and see what the different designs will come out to be looking like, because you may like it a different way, or maybe use a little bit of decorative fabric. Maybe it's got some little designs on it. You know, just change it up, because every time you make this quilt, you can do it a different way. So really, really nice to do. Okay, so let's clear this up here. I'm going to clear up my area so we can get to cutting some of these cornerstones. And I'm going to show you the fabrics that I selected for that. And it was a little bit of a challenge, I have to tell you, because I didn't want to go out and get fabric. I wanted to use fabric that I had in my stash. So I had to make sure that, one, I had enough to cover the entire project. And then two, I needed to find something that would really offset the actual designs that we have here. So you see what it looks like on the laptop, right? We've got all the designs here, and you can see they're pretty simple squares. Okay, they are 4 by 4 inch squares, and then they will have some embroidery going across that will be red. So I didn't want something too busy, because I want the embroidery to kind of speak for itself and let it lay out. So I decided to go ahead and use this green here. Let me just grab one of them. I'm going to use this green fabric as the cornerstone. And I started to cut it because I'm going to need quite a few. Again, the pattern calls for 30 of these. And so because I'm making multiple quilts, I'm actually going to need 90, because I'm making a total of 30. So yes, it's going to be a lot of cutting here, but we are saved because we're going to be using our June Taylor Shape Cut ruler. And this is a ruler that has all of the slots that you need in order to make the cut in one big swish, I guess. Let's call it a swish, right? What I've done, this is a ruler, it is 12 by 12 inch. Oh, Flo says she just caved and purchased this. Good job, Nancy, and being an influencer. Oh, thank you, Flo. You're gonna love it. I'm telling you, you're really gonna love it. I think it's just an adorable quilt. I really, really do. It's really an adorable quilt. And let us know, Flo, once you're done with it. I want to see your progress or how it looks like. I'm really excited to see those. I love to see the projects people make. So just post it on our Facebook page, please. Okay, so this is what I'm going to use for my cornerstone. And I've already started to cut some up because, like I said, I have a ton of them that I need to cut. Now, let me show you what I decided to use as the sashing, because I was having issues trying to decide on this one. I ended up with this sashing here, and let me grab one of them here. It's always great to kind of take one of your blocks and just kind of lay them next to the fabrics and kind of play with them and see what they're going to look like. So this is the sashing that I decided to do. And if you look at the instructions, you'll see a picture of the actual design. And one thing that I do love what they did here, but I think that the sashing and the cornerstones, they're very busy. And so they kind of take away a little bit from the block itself. And I want to kind of calm that down a little bit and not have it too busy. So I decided to use this fabric here. Has a really pretty non-directional design, so I don't have to worry about that. And so I think this is going to play really nicely against each one of the blocks. And let me just grab another block so that you can see. It'll basically be, because we'll be sewing these together, it's basically going to look something like this. Okay, so we're going to have the two blocks and then this sashing in between. And I think that kind of plays nicely because it has that nice contrast. The blocks are pretty simple. They've got some designs going on, and it depends, you know, each block is a little bit different, but a lot of them have this background design going on. And this one has one as well. And I just don't want the sashing to kind of overpower it and just make it look way too busy. So I wanted to kind of give it a little bit of a design, but not, you know, too loud. And so for the cornerstones, that'll be like the calming effect for that as well. And so for the cornerstones, you know, I think something really simple like this. I think it'll be up a little bit more. There, let me try to line it up so you guys can really get a visual of this. Something like this. And I'll just kind of put it here so it all fits. So we've got a little bit of that calming effect going on in the corners, and then we'll have a little bit of a design as the sash, and then the calming effect of the quarter, and the actual block will stand out a little bit more because it's not just busy everywhere. And I feel like the design, sashing, and the cornerstones are pretty busy, and it really kind of takes away a little bit of the blocks. And we've done so much work on these blocks, I really want them to stand out. So this is the layout that I'm selecting, and I'm hoping that this will work and that I have enough to do all 3 quilts. I was debating on doing maybe a little bit of red and offset that color. I may do that on the second quilt just to have it a little bit different. We'll kind of see how it goes and play it by ear. But this is what we're deciding on for right now, and we're gonna just kind of go with it. Okay. So let me put these to the side, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to use this ruler that's really going to make things so much easier. Now, again, I do love to use my scan and cut, and it does make the cuts for you. And since these are just simply 4 by 4 inch squares, you know, it's pretty simple and can be done on your machine. But you can only do 5 at a time on your hoop. And then when you send it to your scan and cut, I could only do 4 at a time on a 12 by 12 inch mat. Now, have I changed it to the 12 by 24 inch mat, I could probably fit a lot more. But I figured, you know, let's take a little break from the scan and cut and try out one of the rulers that we have. I mean, that's what we got them for, right? So let's use them. Let's use the tools. Use the tools that you have to make your job easier. You like the fabric choices better than the picture? Oh, thanks, Barbara. Yeah, and it's just, you know, I think it's beautiful. What they've done is gorgeous, but yeah, it was a little just too busy for me, and I think it's gonna be a lot better. I mean, I just kind of think about, you know, when the person's seeing it. You know, I don't want it to be too busy. Not that you'd get a headache from it, but, you know, like I want it to have a nice calming effect. So it's really all about what you want the person to feel when they see the quilt, right? Kind of like the trend is telling us today. You know, you want to be able to make sure that, you know, your quilts have meaning, and, you know, what feeling do you want the person to have when they see the quilt, and when they are kind of, you know, wrapped around the quilt, right? Okay. So what I've done, I've got my fabric here, and I'm going to need to trim off the edges here. So you can see here, we've got some selvage going on the edges here. So we're going to trim that piece off. And I do have this folded here so that I can get more bang for my buck, right? So I'm going to go ahead and try to make a little bit more space here. And let me just see if I can move my laptop over just a tad more and give myself some space. There we go. Okay, so I've got my fabric laid out, and I'm going to take my ruler. And this ruler, the way it works is it does have a lot of slots going on. Now, this ruler is called the Shape Flex, and this is by June Taylor. Got this many years ago. Use it a lot when I have a lot of multiple strips that I have to make, such as projects like these, right? And what the way the ruler works is it has the slots that allows you to put your rotary blade in, and it gives you that nice straight cut. And it allows you to keep cutting multiples here without having to move the ruler. So you can get a lot out in one shot, which is pretty cool. Now, I'm going to go ahead and line up. And this is where it can get a little bit confusing for folks. Let me see if I can slide this underneath so you guys can see this. The ruler itself, and I will try to bring this up. The ruler itself has a dotted line right between the 0 and the 1, right? So it doesn't have, it has a slot every ½ inch, okay? So we've got a slot on the 0 where you can cut your selvage, which is what we're gonna do today. And then it's got this dotted line here, and then it's got a slot here. This slot represents the ½ inch. The dotted line represents a ¼ inch, okay? But where you are going to line up your fabrics is on the 0 slot, okay? Not on the dotted line. Yeah, Cindy, several of your friends have that ruler. Yeah, it's really a nice ruler. I really enjoy this ruler a lot because it really does give you nice angles. So yeah, it does like a huge ruler. It definitely is. It is a 12 by 12 inch ruler. I have a link on my Amazon shop if you guys are interested. I did put the link on the shop. It's under items used in the stream, and we started to kind of try to organize things so that you guys can find them a lot quicker and able to get to it. But the ruler also has the 45-degree angles and 60-degree angles, which is really nice as well. But for this project, we're going to be lining it up on the 0, right on that slot. That's where we are starting off, and we're going to shave off all of that selvage. And then you're going to count over to 4 because we want this to be a 4-inch squared, right? So you just count over with the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, and you'll notice I have little pieces of tapes, or I used to use you can use painter's tape, you can use little post-it notes, little arrows. There's tons of things that you can do. And at first I thought, oh, that step is kind of silly, but honestly, sometimes you get so distracted that these really do help. I like to kind of mark what I need to cut and where I need to go, because sometimes, you know, you can pop in a movie in there and you can start cutting away, and then you realize you cut the wrong slot. So these little things here kind of helped out, and they're very easy. You know, they're just, this one is actually from a post-it note. I just cut up little strips here and put them on the numbers where I know I need to cut. So since this is 4 inches, I cut every 4 inches. I made a little mark. So actually in one cut, I'm going to be able to get 1, 2, 3 squares out of this slot. And then I'm going to rotate it and I'm going to cut them again, and we're going to have our squares out here. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to line up this ruler here. Let me drag this up a little bit more so you guys can see it. I am going to make sure that my fabric is squared on my mat, and I am going to line this up. Hold on, I've got my little laptop in the way here. Now, one thing I noticed here, my fabric, see that fold? You can see that white here behind it. I want to try to bring this together, make sure that this is nice and flat and even, because I don't want it to have a little bit of a, I don't want it to be at an angle. I want it to be nice and straight. So I'll tuck that in. My fabric is nice and flat and ironed. Guys, go ahead and iron them. And then line this up here. I'm going to take my 0 mark and I'm going to line it up as close as I can to the selvage, because I don't want to waste fabric. But you see here, this fabric actually contains their name right on the fabric. So I'm going to move that over a bit because I don't want that to stay on. And there we go. So we've got our fabric lined up. Here is the 0 mark right here. Okay. And so we've got this all nice and lined up here. We're going to be cutting this piece off, and then we're going to be moving over here and doing a second cut right here in the slot number 4. Okay. So let me just grab my rotary cutter because I did put it away. I'm not sure why I did. Here we go. Okay, so for the rotary cutter that you're using on these types of rulers, you can use the 60-inch. That's the one that I'm using. You could also use the 45-inch, but you have to be careful because remember, these rulers are going to sink, the rotary cutter is going to sink into the ruler. And so if you use a rotary cutter that's too small, you're going to be going across and you're not really going to be cutting anything because it's going to be kind of stuck on the actual slot and won't be able to penetrate the fabric. So 60-inch I think is the best bet to go on this. 45 will be okay too. I prefer the 60 to make sure that I really get a nice clean cut. So I've lined the bottom of my fabric up here going across on the 0 line, and we've got our selvage that we're going to be cutting off here on that 0 line. So I'm putting my rotary cutter inside the 0 slot, and you may have to jiggle a little bit just to get it in there, and then just hold it down with your hand and make a nice clean cut all the way across. That's going to cut off our selvage. Now we're going to need to do the actual cuts, and we're going to count over to 4 where I have my little post-it note tape here, and I'm going to go into that slot, and without moving my ruler, I'm going to go ahead and put my blade in that slot, hold it down, and do that second cut. Then I'm going to go over to my next one, which is 4 down again. That's going to bring me to 8. Hold this down and yet do another cut. And then again, one last time over to the 12. This is going to be the final cut that we can do. I'm going to have to kind of get up a little bit here because I'm out of space here. So hopefully my head won't be in the way. Okay. So those are our cuts. Now, the way I like to do this is holding on to the ruler so it doesn't shift. First, I'm going to try to pull this away. I want to make sure that my fabric is away here and I have that nice clean cut. Then I'm going to go over to my other side and I'm going to just kind of lift a little bit and pull out my selvage. And here's why. I hold it on with my hand and I'm pulling on it. And you can see here, I've got the top half off, but it looks like my second piece of fabric didn't cut all the way through. So I can just put it right back down. And I know that my blade is a little bit dull, so I do have to change that. But I wanted to kind of keep it so I could show you guys this. And then you can just kind of wiggle it right back into that slot and go ahead and make the cut. Put your fingers back underneath and it should be able to slide right off. That's kind of the little trick I like to do. Although if you take off your ruler, it's not totally horrible. You can still just go ahead and cut again. But I like to kind of just check it to make sure that it did come out. Knowing I have a dull blade, I'm going to go ahead and just check. You can see that one came out just fine. And so did this one. So now I'm able to just kind of remove my ruler. And I did my cuts. And they are exactly 4 inches. So I've got all 3 of them here. And nice and easy, really clean cut. Now all we have to do is rotate this. And we're going to cut them again, and we're going to end up with our squares. So makes it really nice and easy, and you can do multiples at once. Now, the better you get, the more you can layer this. I just have that fear of layering them sometimes, so I like to kind of just keep it no more than 2 to 3 layers. But there are some people who really stack them up and then cut them. but I just kind of keep it really light. I'd rather just do it multiple times. So now that I have the first part cut out, I'm going to go ahead. I've got one little thread here. I'm going to try to get out. There we go. I'm going to go ahead and reposition my ruler. And I'm going to try to keep that 0 mark right on the end and on the bottom of my fabric. There we go. Let's see. So this one's looking good. This one, no, yeah, it looks good. And so you just kind of check all the way around. So I know that I am nice and even on the bottom. Looks like I am good on this side as well. And looks like it's pretty good. I have this little gap here in the bottom, but I think it's just because of the way I laid it out. So I think I'm good here and here. And looks like we're good all the way around. So we're able to now make that next cut. So once again, I'm going to go ahead and stand up. I feel more comfortable standing up. So I'm just going to put my hand right on the ruler here. I've got that 0 mark. That selvage is already away, so I don't have to cut that again. So I'm going to go straight to my number 4-inch line. And I'm going to stick my blade inside that slot with some pressure down. So you got that downward pressure, and then just bring it all the way across. Do the same thing on the 8-inch mark. And on the 12-inch mark, we do have a tiny piece that we need to get off. So we'll go ahead and do that one as well. Okay. Lift again here, see if I can slide this off. Looks like you've got no issues there. So I'm going to lift up my ruler. And there we go. How easy is that? And we've already got 9 blocks all cut up. So nice and easy. And then on top of that, we doubled up our layer. So we actually have 18 because we've got another one underneath, right? And so that's why I think this is a lot quicker for me. This was kind of my preferred method on how to cut these. And so I have them all laid out and ready to go. Now we're going to be putting this to our embroidery machine to embroider those cornerstones. So we may have to cut some fabric off after we place it. Remember, it's going to do the tack down line as well. So you may have to cut some, and that's totally fine. 1 Minute Tip says, wow, that was like magic trick. Yeah, I kind of love that. You know, you can get so many done just in one little swoop. And so we already have a little stack here that's ready to go. So we can kind of continue to build that. And like I said, I have so many of them that it's going to make it a lot easier for me. And you can see not much waste at all, right? We have our selvage that we cut off, and then this is just the tiny piece on the edge that was left over. So not a lot of waste, which is another plus, which is what I like. Now on the scan and cut, because I'm cutting it and restricting myself to that 12 by 12 inch mat, I probably would have a little bit more waste than I would like on that. So this was for me the better route to take, but for you guys, you know, if you want to go ahead and use your scan and cut, go ahead and do that. Couple things I want to talk about on this ruler in terms of maintenance, storage, that kind of thing. Again, when you're using it, my best tip for you guys is to make sure that you do put these little tabs on here to kind of identify what slot you're needing to cut, because you can easily get distracted and use the wrong slot, and you don't want that to happen. But when you are kind of putting these away, make sure that you're storing these in a flat surface. Whether you're hanging it, because it does have the little hole on the top, you can hang it flat, or you can lay it flat on in a drawer, but you want to make sure that this is on the bottom. You don't want to kind of warp your ruler by having other rulers in between and kind of having it shift around. These slots make it very vulnerable because they are so open. It doesn't have a lot of strength to hold together. And you want to make sure that you maintain that, because you don't want your strips to warp, because when you use them, then it could easily warp your project and when you're cutting your fabric. So make sure you store these on a flat surface or on your wall. Yes, Barbara, great tip. Thank you, Barbara. So you know, that's what we're all about here, right? Sharing all kinds of tips. So, and if you guys have any tips, please put them down in the comments and chat about it, because we want to make sure that everyone is aware of all the different things. We've got to take care of our rulers, because they'll take care of us when we're doing our projects, right? So definitely on a flat surface, or if you're putting it on the wall, make sure it's flat, flush against the wall. Because you don't want to store things underneath it that could possibly warp it. And remember, this is a pretty vulnerable ruler because of the open slots, so be very careful with that. Other rulers, if you don't have a ruler that is like the shape cut that has the slots, you can use other rulers that you feel comfortable with. This is a 12.5 ruler, 12.5 squared ruler that is also pretty big. You can use that as well to try to maximize as much as you can. But you know, you can definitely, you know, use the ruler that you're comfortable with. Oh, Krista says she keeps hers between two pieces of foam core from the Dollar Tree. Great idea. Yes, because you want to protect it, because they're acrylic. You want to protect it from the scratches, right? You don't want to have scratch marks all over your rulers. And you want to make sure that they don't warp. Like your song says, Miss Nancy, sharing tips and tricks. That's all I need. Yes, exactly. And we like to share all of that together, because we're all here to help each other out, right? So definitely, you know, protect it from the scratches if you can. Like Krista said, you can put some foam in between them so they don't get scratched. Lay them on flat surfaces or on the wall so they don't get warped. That is your favorite ruler, the 12.5. Yeah, that's one of my favorites too. I'm actually on the hunt for a 12-inch square without that 1/2 inch as well. Haven't been able to really find it just yet. You have a few of those rulers. I've got some at the expo when they were new and not so expensive. Yeah, Leslie, they've really the prices of the rulers have really gone up. So you really want to take care of your rulers and make sure that you have that maintenance. I love that ruler. Best ruler I've ever bought. Awesome, Annette. Yeah. It is. It's a lot of fun. And I've got quite a few of the June Taylor rulers. She does have a few others. But I also have creative grids as well. That's probably one of my favorites as well. But they are very, very pricey. So we take care of our rulers because they are quite pricey, and they help us get that job done. So yeah, we've all got our favorites. And so definitely use the one that speaks over to you. So that you can get your job done. Alrighty, so we still have a few minutes left, and I wanted to kind of jump back into the laptop and take a look at the sashing. Okay, so I'll continue to cut those corner square blocks tonight, and then let's go over to the laptop. I've got a couple of pages open. Now, let's look at the sashing. Designs by Juju gives you two different types of sashing. They give you a horizontal sashing as well as the vertical sashing, right? Because you are putting it horizontally in between the blocks as well as vertically. So they do have giving you both. But for the vertical sashing that you see here, as you can see, I've got a 5x7 hoop. I can only do one at a time because of the size. So on here, I may do the same thing as well. I may go ahead and cut them with my ruler because I think it's just going to really be a little bit easier for me. Let's see. Oh, by the way, guys, we have some deals that are for rulers on our Amazon shop. So if you guys are interested and wanted to check out some of the rulers, hubby did put a couple of rulers that he found out there that are on sale for Prime Day. So just check them out, see if that's anything that you're interested in. If you use the link, we'd appreciate it. We get a little commission on that, and that kind of helps us going. But they are listed out there on the Prime Day, so check that out below so that you can see what's listed. All right, so here's the sashing, and you can see all of the different layers that make up that design, and you can see right off the bat you've got your very first one, which again is your placement line. So if you are wanting to use your scan and cut to cut the sashing, that is the line that you would use in order to get the scan and cut to cut it for you. Okay, all of the other lines after that are not required for the scan and cut because that's the placement line. Then the dark olive is going to be your tack down line. It's tacking down the fabric. And then you're going to have, it's tacking down the batting as well as the fabric. And then you're going to have the actual design itself on the sash, which is the embroidery of the little snowflakes. Okay, so that's another reason why I tried to pick something a little bit subtle, is because the embroidery design itself is going to embroider something on these fabrics. So if I have something that's too busy and then I'm going to have embroidery on top of something that's already busy, it kind of, you lose a little bit of it, right? So try to pick something that's pretty simple, colors that pop, but will allow the design to really show when it's it goes ahead and it embroiders it on there. Okay, so that is the horizontal one. Let's take a look. I'm sorry, that's the vertical one. Let's take a look at the horizontal one. Now on the horizontal, you do have 3 different pieces that you can fit in that 5x7 hoop. When I open that up, of course, it's going to be the same makeup that you had with the vertical one. It will have your placement, your placement line, your tack down lines as well, and then the embroidery, and then it just repeats to the second design here. All right, so we've got the 3. So you can kind of stack them up in your scan and cut. If you got that 12x24 inch mat, you can do that as well. Stack them up and just put one long piece of fabric and have it cut it out for you. Or you can go ahead and just cut them with a ruler. That's what I'm going to do, because I'm actually going to use my embroidery machine to kind of finish up some of those other blocks, and then I can use my ruler here to cut up the sashing and the cornerstones while my embroidery machine is going. I mean, guys, you should have seen it here last night. I had my scan and cut going, I had my embroidery machine going, and then I was off to the side picking out fabrics as well. So it was really productive here in my little crafting studio here. So you can definitely see how we like to multitask a lot. So I have all machines going and working and all going at the same time. So I was changing the threads every time it stopped. I was addressing the scan and cut and had it do its thing, and kept repeating, because again, I'm making 3 of these quilts. So I had all kinds of things going on, and of course I had my music playing in the background. So yes, Cindy, will you show me your 2 brown fabrics that I used for the reindeer? Sure. Let's see. For the reindeer, I had 2 of them. So this one is the one that I think you're talking about, and this is this brown right here. And let me see, I think I still have a little piece left with some heat and bond on it. And let me see if I can find one. Nope. Let's see. Where did I put my scraps? I believe I may have some here, and I'm not sure if I have a really big piece because I kind of use them, but I can show it to you from here so you could see it. This is what it looks like. It's got a little bit of spots, so it kind of makes it a little bit realistic. Like it's not just a brown solid color. It's got like little speckles of different colors in there. This is just a plain brown, which can be used as well. This is just plain. And let me see if I can find, this is my little scrap bag here, and I've got all kinds of scraps in here. And let me see if I can find a little piece that I can show you if I have any left, because it was slim pickings on the reindeer because I didn't have too much out here. Let's see. I do have another brown that I've seen used as well. This one, you can use it. It's got a little bit of a stripe to it, but this one would work as well. Okay, so you can do either one here. One's a little bit darker than the other. So you could use that. That'll work also. And then guys, you can get creative on some of these things too. You can embellish some of the things like the little reindeer nose. Someone had suggested that you can use some vinyl, some sparkly vinyl, like a red nose, right? With that little sparkle, that would be really cute too, if you wanted to do that. Let me grab one more stack to see if I see it on here. Hold on. Let's see here. No, that one is not it. I thought that was it, but it is not. Yeah, I don't know if I have any of that brown just left over. Yeah, I think that was it. I think that was it, Cindy. That's all I have left. But you can get one of those fat quarters that have those neutral colors. This one here is pretty similar. It's just a little bit darker. See that? This came with a fat quarter that just had all neutral colors in it. So if you find something like that, that brown will work. Or you can just make your reindeer a lighter color too, okay? Alrighty, so we're getting towards that end. Let me just quickly give you the inspirational quote of the day before I let you go. Okay, so the quote of the day is... Every stitch holds a promise that something beautiful is slowly coming together. And that's exactly what we're doing here. We're putting our project together very slowly, step by step. We're all doing it together, and we'll end up with a really beautiful project that I hope we can all treasure. So thank you guys all for tuning in. I really appreciate all of your support. I hope you really enjoy the content and you're doing this along with me. I hope you guys have a fantastic day. Don't forget to go ahead and tune in to Power Tools with Thread. She's going to be coming on any moment. Actually, I'm not. She may or may not. Actually, yeah, there's no Becky today. Actually, now that I think about it, she is actually teaching today. So no Becky today. So guys, just go ahead and use this time to get some stuff done in your craft room, okay? Alrighty guys, I really have to run. Thank you all for tuning in. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I hope to be crafting with you soon. Bye everyone.
So long for now, so long. Glad you stayed a while. Hope you liked my crafting style. Hope I left you with a smile. By now, clutter-free. Hope your day is bright as can be. So long, my friends, till we craft once again. Bye now, stay crafting. See you tomorrow. So long, my friends, till we craft once again.